Before the video starts, the audio at the beginning is kind of bad, but it gets better when I start ranking them. I'm just too lazy to re-say the lines.
Nintendo!
Partners in Time is a very loved game in the Mario and Luigi franchise. Some people say it's the worst in this franchise. Personally, I think it's one of the best. But not many people actually talk about the areas in the game. People rank stuff like the bosses, I guess, like, that's really it though. They talk about the story, but the areas don't get much love. So that's what I'm here to do today. I'm going to rank every single area in Partners in Time. There's a couple of rules though. One, this is my opinion. If you're literally going to go into the comments and say that my opinion's wrong, that's fine. Just don't do it in a really stupid way like, oh my god, why is Princess Peach's castle not #1? You guys know that's not going to be #1, come on. The second thing is that there's gonna be spoilers. It's just a fact. If you haven't played Partners in Time, get the heck off this video. Disclaimer, don't leave just because I said that. I actually need the viewers. Please don't leave. Otherwise, I think that's it. Let's get started on the ranking. The freaking tutorials. That's enough said. Okay, fine, I'll talk about it. Okay, the tutorials suck. We know this. But there's a little bit more to offer, even though the enemies are really easy. I mean, you get to fight the Shroob for the first time, which is a nice touch. Also, you get to see the destruction and just the danger that the Shroob actually show, which is pretty cool. But, honestly, it doesn't save it from being number 16. It's still the worst place, just because the tutorials drag it down so much. They suck. We're not stupid, we know how to jump. Okay, one thing sinks this place down all the way to number 15. Honestly, if it did not do this, it'd probably be only number 14, but it's just that you can never come back here. And that's why some people don't even count it as a real place, but I do. You can fight enemies, you collect beans, but I mean, it's just an easy candidate to be number 15. It will never be as bad as Holly Jolly Village, but it's still pretty bad. Especially because the enemies have zero variety. Why am I saying enemies? There's only one enemy. It's just an upgraded Shroob that's faster. And it's just not interesting, especially because in Vim Factory there was the yellow ones where they could grow in size or shrink, and then the blue ones in Yube's Belly where they had like those robot mouse things and the UFOs. Now the only thing that we all wonder, what is going on with those Shroobs in the background? Their heads are getting sucked on, Well, that explains it. I'm going to take a mental break and we're going to move on to number 14. Okay, I love the music of this place. I love how it looks. I love the ball rolling mechanic. And I like the boss. Other than that, this place is bad. There's zero enemies. It has my least favorite type of puzzle in the game where you have to light up the pathway for the babies to go. And to be honest, I don't care about the story because once Peach apparently gets eaten, she's alive? Yeah, this is where the story starts to get confusing for me. But I think the worst thing that this place does is that out of every location in the entire game, this place has the least amount of enemies. The only thing that this place has is the boss. Yes, even Holly Jolly Village has less enemies, which is just disappointing. All this place offers is the ball rolling mechanic, which gets boring. Okay. Don't worry, this is not a bad place. This is just the places I think that are okay. And no, this does not count Vim Factory. Vim Factory is in a different spot. But Toadwood Forest on its own, it's meh. I do like some of the puzzles where you have to hit the fireball to burn down some of the trees. that's cool. The story, it's interesting. Obviously, one of the trapped toads, like, trying to talk to you is cool. But other than that, story's kind of eh. The enemies are pretty cool. There's 3 of them, and they're all interesting. But the puzzle you see on screen right now, I hate it. This is the mild version of it. Basically, the babies just tell the platformer to go, and the bros have to follow it. It's so boring. It drags on so much, and it literally ruins the place for me. Kind of like Koopaceum literally having 0 enemies, which ruins it. Now, this is way more minor, so that's why it's obviously higher than Koopaceum, but it's a major flaw that I just cannot overlook. Okay, Baby Bowser's Castle and Toadwood Forest is basically neck and neck on how I feel about them. I both think that they're okay, but the only reason I think Baby Bowser's Castle is better is literally just because of Kamek. I really like Kamek in this game. He's really funny. But honestly, I could just say everything I said for Toadwood Forest here. There's obviously one puzzle I really don't like, which is the pitch black, but then the bros have to hit light to the babies, which is just stupid. I hate it. I mean, I guess you do get a Cobalt Star Shard, which I guess does also boost that higher than Toadwood Forest because you don't really get one yet. But other than that, they're basically neck and neck. They're the same. I like the enemies, but again, it's fine. Okay, listen. This is gonna be very hard to explain why Peach's Castle is above everything else so far. But there's a couple of reasons why. First off, the charm. The Toadworths are just they're just great, okay? They're trying to cheer up the baby princess. It's just amazing to watch. Plus, the new time holes coming up was actually very nostalgic for me because all I did was just go into random time holes that I haven't been to yet, like in Toad Town, also like Shroob Castle, and just stand there and just realize that I'm gonna be there someday. I mean, if you don't really care about that, there's always one thing that everyone loves. Fawful's here. Okay, Yoshi's Island is the first place I consider good. And this is because the enemies are, well, pretty good. They're very cool. We have the concept of the birds. We have the enemies where it's blind, where you can do a hammer or a jump, which is cool. They're pretty unique, as well as the Tiki guys, which I personally think are annoying, but in concept they're pretty good. As well as all the secrets in this level. Like, they're pretty good. Also, Kamek, it's something that brings it down. Kamek is not a good boss. He's super easy. You literally could do it without taking any damage at all, while still taking damage, which is just sad. Something else as well is that the music for the second area, where you have to get the blocks back, it's not great. I don't really like it that much. The first place is obviously pretty good. Who doesn't like that? And also, the area, it looks cool, but only because of the destruction from Yube. Other than that, it looks very bland to me. But that's obviously because I played Yoshi's Island games before. So, that's really it. Okay, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. The music is so good. This is probably the most underrated track in this game. That's no doubt. But honestly, everything else about this place is at least, like, decent. Like, the place looks very cool. I like the color palette of it. I love just all the robots and just all the technology just in the background. As well as, you get 2 decent bosses here. I like the Hammer Bros, not as a boss, but just as characters in general. The Wiggler is, again, it's a good concept where you have to knock the poison mushroom into his drink. I like that part of it, but other than that, it's pretty easy. But the main thing that you get here is obviously the hammers, which I love the hammers. It's just something that's really fun to use, as well as you can finally get beans, which is always very nice. And it's just a nice ability to have. The only thing is that I don't like that you have to have the babies only to use the hammers, which is pretty annoying. But other than that, yeah, it's a pretty good place. I mean, this place is just good. Let's be real here. The ball rolling mechanic is obviously really fun. The enemies are pretty unique. We have a sand swimmer, because everyone swims in the sand, as a Shroob. We got a pokey. Oh, we also got the bomb finally. So that's nice. As well as the bros and the babies actually get to be separated for once, which personally I thought was very annoying when dealing with enemies, but really thinking about it, it's definitely a treat because we wouldn't be able to be using the ball rolling mechanic. So I'm glad that it happened. The dry bones quest was pretty good. Sadly, there's no boss, which is definitely sad, but yeah, you guys are definitely waiting for me to talk about the music. Guys, I think the music is very overrated. I personally don't like it, but it's not bad. It's just something that I don't prefer. I'm gonna get so many dislikes, aren't I? Yube's belly is... well, it could have been way worse than it actually is. Like, Nintendo could have made it really gross, but they took it in a very weird way, and they made it like a circus? And, like, a robot? I mean, it's very creative, don't get me wrong, but it is strange that Nintendo thought of that. The enemies are very good. Let's just get this out of the way. We got the bulls, which are very unique. We got the dry bones, which I'm glad that we also have dry bones now. And we also have the Shroobs that I already talked about before in the mothership, where they summon robots, and they're pretty good. I mean, I don't know how they all got trapped down here. I'm not gonna personally think about that because that's gross. But in reality, the place looks good, as well as the boss. The boss is very good. It's very unique. You have to destroy the eggs and then spawn 5 Yoshis to knock them over. Then you probably use stuff like cannonballers or just jumping in general to try to kill them as fast as possible. I really like the concept of it, and it's just a fun boss in general. We also can't forget that to get out of Yube's belly, you have to get pooped out. That is good game design right there. That music is... I love the music. This is one of my favorite tracks from this game. Other than the music, which is obviously the best part, the boss is pretty good. Like, I really like the boss. It gives you free bros attacks, and the attacks are pretty good. As well as you get to see the past version of Professor Egad, which is very interesting to see that he lived on a volcano. As well as the volcano actually erupts, and the present Professor Egad has to actually help you by making a machine to cool down the volcano, which is just very cool as an idea for the game. I mean, we haven't even talked about the enemies yet. The enemies are pretty good. There's like the block things, which, I mean, that makes them sound like they're very bad enemies, but they're not. They're very unique, as well as the Goombas, which probably one of the most unique enemies in the game. Personally to me, they can turn into a lot of things, which is, it's pretty cool. Also, I mean, the name is pretty accurate. It's called Thwomp Volcano. This volcano is covered in thwomps. I mean, it's not very creative, like, name-wise, but it works, as well as, I mean, let's be real here. These are definitely the top-tier locations in the game. These top 6 are all very good and can compete with every single RPG game. Gritzy Caves is very weird, just because there's 4 really good things about this. That's like par to number 1, but everything else is just kind of meh, which definitely drops it down to number 5. Obviously, the meh stuff, the enemies are kind of okay. There's an upgraded Boo, which is kind of lazy, and there's a Sniffet that's mummified, I guess. The other thing is that the aesthetic is very boring. It's very bland, but first things first, PD Piranha as the boss. The boss, obviously, is very good. as well as the story with him, like him just eating Kylie Koopa, as well as us thinking that, oh my god, he ate Peach, we need to kill him. And then, as well as, there is a lot of secrets in this place. There is a lot more secrets than in other places, which makes it very interesting to explore. And the last thing is that there is a lot of mini games in this place, which is very, very unique just to this place here. And it makes it way more fun than before, especially because the only minigames we really had that I can really think of on the top of my head is the minigame in Gritzy Desert where you had to race in like 12 seconds, as well as like Peach's Castle to get to the time hole for Gritzy Desert, but that's really it. So it makes it very fun, especially because it's with the ball rolling mechanic, which again, you've heard me sing the praise of. So yeah, overall, this is a very good place. Like Thwomp Volcano, the music here is phenomenal. I love it. The other thing is that the enemies, they're pretty cool. Some of them are not unique, but others actually have really cool twists on them. The thing is that every single enemy here is based on an enemy, but they put really good twists on them. Like the box guys from Thwomp Volcano, they stack on each other and then turn into this, like, I don't know what they are. The thing that's on the screen right now. The other thing is that there's Shroobs, they're on fire, so you can't jump on them, that's something else. As well as the chameleons from Toadwood Forest, they're very evasive, they want to run away. So, if you kill them, you get a ton of coins and a decent amount of EXP. But it's very rare if you actually kill them. And what everyone wants me to talk about, the boss, Baby Bowser and Bowser, it's so cool to fight them like you've been fighting every other boss. I mean, it's just creative. I mean, it's not super creative, but it's just cool, as well as Baby Bowser being a medic and then Bowser being a powerhouse. Unless you use the Ice Flower, but we'll talk about that if we do a boss ranking. Overall, this place is very good. It's very fun to be here. It looks decent. I mean, it's just very fun. Definitely deserves number 4 on this list. Toad Town.
Why is Toad Town number 3? It's not even that good of a place.
Okay, 1. You used to live here. Why are you not criticizing me to put it higher? Don't you want the place you live number 1? You want whatever. 2. This is the most fun I've ever had in a Partners in Time area. No, I'm not kidding. And to be honest, I don't really know why. The only reason I can think of is that the bros and the babies are separated for the longest time here. So it makes the enemies actually pretty difficult. And speaking of the enemies, top tier enemies in Partners in Time. All the enemies are really fun or really difficult, especially because the bros are separated from the babies, which make them harder. We got the Simon Says Shroob, which is very interesting. We got the pink ball that's less deadly than Kirby. I mean, he even flies, as well as we got the Pokey mixed with the Dry Bones. He's pretty fun, and to be honest, it's pretty fun just to take out any enemy in this area. Also, the music. It's so good and depressing, and it just shows how decimated this place actually is. I mean, just look at it. It looks just destroyed. And that's what I love about this place. But the main reason I can't put it at number 2 and number 1 is because this place does not have a boss. It just leads to Star Hill, which makes it not able to really get any higher, even though I really want to put it at number 1. Star Hill is number 2. And as you guys are wondering, this counts both places, the place that's right after Toad Town and right before you go back into Princess Peach's castle. So all that already makes it super long, which is very good, obviously, so that already places it in a very high place, as well as there is a ton of enemies. There's a ton of them, so obviously you get to level up a lot, plus the enemies are actually really difficult, for me at least, just because there's a ton of attacks. They're very hard to dodge, plus I don't use bros items to attack them, as well as just the aesthetic. It's very cool. It's very majestic. There's a ton just in the background. It looks beautiful. As well as the music. Obviously, it's not as good as stuff like Toad Town or Vim Factory or Thwomp Volcano, but it's still pretty good. The bosses in this place are pretty good as well. Obviously, I think the Commander Shroob is a little bit worse than the Elder Shrooboid, but the concepts for both are pretty good. Because the Commander Shrooboid, you have to launch a bomb to him to get him into the battle arena, so you can actually kill him. And the Elder Shrooboid, once you lower his health all the way to 0, he grows huge, and you only have 3 turns to kill him, which is very stressful. It's probably the most stressful boss in this game. Oh, who am I kidding? You know what the most stressful boss in this game is. Okay, what did you guys really expect to be number 1? Shroob Castle is easily the best place in this game. All the enemies are top-notch, just like Toad Town. This place looks decimated, just like Toad Town. And the bosses, there's actually bosses here, unlike Toad Town. And they're even better than in places like Star Hill, or Koopaceum, or literally any other place. I mean, this place looks amazing. Let's be real here. It's just covered in Shroobs. The story, this is the end. This is the final place. That's already something. As well as just, it has all the fun that I had with Toad Town just in a boss. Not counting the area, which obviously makes it even better. Just think about this for a second. This is Princess Peach's castle. You've been to this place the whole time, but just in the present. You now go to the past, and this is what it looks like. You're familiar with it, but it's a little different. It's amazing to navigate, and it's just cool to think this is what it is now. What was it like before? The only glance you got was right at the beginning of the game, when you were in the tutorial stage. But other than that, this is what Princess Peach's castle is. I don't even need to talk about how good the bosses are. To me, there's 4 bosses. We got the Chain Chomp that just is not letting you get it out of that stupid sewer. We got the Mothership fight. We got the first Princess Shroob fight. And then we got the final boss, the Elder Princess Shroob, which just grows giant and realizes that if she loses this, the Shroobs are gone. They lose. This is why Shroob Castle is number 1. It just shows how much the Shroobs have decimated the past. It just shows it in tenfold compared to every other place in the game. And with that, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching my ranking on the Partners in Time areas. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like down below. If you're add-on to this channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. And if you guys have any other ideas on what I should rank for the Mario RPG games, make sure to leave them down below in the comments. I will reply to every single one if you want me to. You might as well just say don't if you don't want me to, but you know, I'll reply anyway. And yeah, catch you on the next video. See you guys later.